Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher, and this is Unlimited Astrology. I thought I would come on today and talk a little bit about the energy of the upcoming full moon. So, we are currently building up to the full moon, which is tomorrow morning, June 14th, around 5 a.m. So, these themes have been percolating and coming more and more into consciousness over the last couple of days and will culminate with this full moon moment and then sort of fade out and integrate over the following days after that. And the shape of this particular full moon is that we have had the sun in Gemini for the last couple of weeks. So the sun's in Gemini, putting this solar spotlight, this focus on Geminian energy. And then the moon comes around to Sagittarius, which is opposite Gemini in the chart, and it brings this moment in time out where the Sagittarius energy comes in and has a dialogue with the Gemini energy, and we reach a fullness of consciousness as the two different parts, the two different halves of the coin are both lit up at the same time. And then there's also a bit in here where Neptune is squaring them, hitting both of those points with a 90-degree angle and coming into the conversation as well. And so to break that down a bit, starting with the sun, we've had the sun in Gemini for the last 3 weeks, which puts the spotlight or shines the big flashlight, the solar focus on the themes of Gemini, which have to do with seeing things from different perspectives, gathering lots of new stimuli, ideas, information, possibilities. Gemini is very busy and it likes to look at everything that's interesting and everything that's possible. It's kind of like a thrift store energy, right? Gemini goes in and pulls 20 different things off the shelf and tries them all on, and then just kind of leaves them all over the place. And then on the other side of that, we have Sagittarius, which is very far looking, right? If Gemini is short sighted and distractible, Sagittarius is long sighted, far sighted, and deeply focused on like what is ultimately meaningful. Um, and they're both two halves of the same conversation, right? Gemini is open to interesting things and different perspectives and can see things in lots of different ways. And Sagittarius can look further afield and into deeper philosophy, but maybe isn't as open to possibilities and perspectives that don't match its beliefs. And so with this, Sun is in Gemini, focusing on those Geminian themes, and the moon comes around to Sagittarius and it says, let's look further towards the horizon, or let's focus this up a bit into what really matters here, or what is really going to be abiding um, and match up with our intuition and with the shape of the life that we ultimately really want to build. Gemini, you've just pulled 10 different things, maybe even 20 different things off the shelf. You're thinking about all of these different ideas and possibilities of all this different stuff that could work out. But what is the one or two or even three things that really speak to you or that really feel meaningful in that mix? Because if you try and do 20 things, it's all just going to peter out and go nowhere, and your energy's spread too thin. So, like, what of all of these interesting possibilities that we've gathered over Gemini season feels right to our intuition and to our deeper belief system? What can we see looking to the horizon as really working for us in a long ranging, long term, sustainable kind of way? That's kind of the conversation that comes in here as the moon comes into Sagittarius today, tomorrow, and reflects back on the themes of the solar month that we've had. And then in the mix of all of that, so there's that conversation going on with Gemini and Sagittarius. lots of interesting possibilities. I'm so excited about everything. And then the moon in Sagittarius saying, now how can we look deeper into all of that and find out what we really want to bring forward? Into that comes Neptune over here in Pisces. And Neptune is the planet that's all about spiritual connection and deeper truth and like capital T, real truth. Um, and it is in Pisces, which is the sign that's about spiritual connection and surrender and going with the flow and being connected in a way beyond knowing, in a way. It's true spirituality. And Neptune's over here in this like oceanic mystic waters of Pisces. And it is saying to both the sun in Gemini and also to the moon in Sagittarius, it's saying you also have to look towards this. You have to look towards what's really real, beyond all of your ideas. Because Gemini, you've got all these interesting ideas, all these thoughts, all these little puzzles that you're playing with. And Sagittarius, you've got long term planning, you've got philosophy. But in a way, what both of these energies are holding is just thought, whether it be short term plans and all the things you want to do today, or long term plans for 5 or 10 years down the line. They're still just kind of thoughts on top of what's really true, on top of what's really here in the present moment, which that Neptune in Pisces wants to also bring consciousness to. It wants to say, all of this is great, interesting ideas, future possibilities, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in any given moment, everything could change in an instant, and all of that would just have been illusory. All of that would have just been mind games on top of what's really true, on top of what's really here, on top of what's really meaningful. And Neptune in Pisces wants us to be in touch with that thing beyond thought, beyond ideas, beyond philosophy, beyond belief, even, to just what is happening and what is unfolding through us and what is here, um, beyond our ideas of what we think we're going to do with it. And so there's this dialogue going on where Gemini's interested in lots of stuff and excited about everything that's lighting it up. And Sagittarius is trying to filter that down and make it work and look towards the horizon. And then Neptune's coming in and saying, don't forget that even as you're busy with all of these processes and ideas and growth, there's also something else here. There's something deeper, even deeper than all of the other layers that you put on life. And it also needs your attention because, in some way, could it be that the distraction of all of the ideas or the planning for the future, which are both great in their way, new stimuli, new input, openness, perspectives, other people's perspectives, learning, fantastic. Planning for the future, looking ahead, getting deep into your intuition and your beliefs, also great. But those things can be co opted by the ego or by the mind into distractions, into ways of not dealing with this Neptunian Piscean thing that really is there in a always waiting, always true kind of way. It says, life is change and impermanence and presence and flow, and you never really know where it's actually going to take you. And there's energies and feelings and experiences to be unfolded beyond planning and beyond foresight. Um, that is just lived directly, experientially. And sometimes this activity of the mind, or this philosophizing and laying out of the future, while they're useful and important functions, can also be ways that we avoid being in touch with a deeper abiding energy that's here, or with a deeper meditative presence, with energies in us that are asking for attention, but that we're afraid to encounter. And so we go into the mind, and we go into the planning, and we go into the thinking to actually avoid being directly in touch with this Neptunian thing, um, of real direct energetic presence with all that life and spirit offer. And so that's coming in to this full moon, and it's squaring both parts of it. And it's saying, sun, moon, as you're busy having this conversation with each other back and forth about short term, long term, interesting, sustainable, don't forget, it's like a third friend coming into the dialogue saying, I know that you two are talking about something important here, but you've also got to remember that there's this bigger thing going on too, and that it also needs consciousness and attention. And the interesting thing is that none of these three people, none of these three planets are right or wrong or good or bad. They're just all different parts of a conversation. So Neptune and what it's pointing out does deserve our consciousness, but so too does Gemini and everything that it's interested in. The sun in Gemini, that's totally valid as well. And the moon shining this light on what we might want to do with it all, and what we really believe, and what really feels right to us, and what we're aiming for, that's valid and important to process as well. So, all three are actually key components of our consciousness experience. The Neptune thing, because it is squaring the lunation, feels big, feels like it needs to be included, or that it's kind of lurking around the edges, um, calling our attention in a way that is challenging. But it's only one of three equal parts, in this conversation. It deserves consciousness and attention and awareness, but all of it does. And none of it is the only answer or the only way here. The challenge of this lunation and the exciting possibility of it is to see all three parts of this going on in ourselves and make space for all of it, so that we can be beings who have this Gemini thing going on, this Sagittarius thing going on, and this Neptune thing going on all at the same time. So that's kind of the energy in the sky right now. It's building up. And like I said, tomorrow morning on June 14th, around 5 a.m., we're going to have the fullness of the lunation, and then it'll fade and integrate over the coming days. Thank you for tuning in and letting me share. I appreciate your time and energy. And until next time, take care.